Well, cricket season is underway in full swing, and what better time to have a quick conversation with one of Australia's, in fact, many would say one of the world's greatest cricketers, Adam Gilchrist. Thanks so much for taking our time to be with us here,
Natasha.
Adam. I know that you're here as Australia's representative on education matters to India, but if I could just now bring your focus to cricket, which is what many of your fans will want to know. Now, IPL season is kicking off on Saturday. Who on paper do you believe is sort of looking really good?
Well, I'll start by saying it's T20 cricket,
Right.
so everyone's a chance. I think we've just seen in the recent World Cup that it was hard to predict who was going to win that, right down to the last over.
Absolutely.
We didn't know. So, and I think this year with the IPL, clearly the really interesting aspect is going to be the Chennai Super Kings have been disbanded, one of the most, if not the most successful franchises in the tournament's history. That's going to be intriguing to see what the wash up there is of those players being around. Mumbai are always there or thereabouts. I've got to say Ricky Ponting's one of the great cricket minds that I've been associated with, so no surprise that teams that he's involved with succeed. KKR are always a threat up there, and they get those home conditions right. So, and of course,
you're hedging your bets.
Yeah, I've given you no favourite there whatsoever. But that's, in all seriousness, that's what's intriguing about these T20 tournaments.
Right. You mentioned World T20. Now, for us in India, it was Virat Kohli who sort of really dominated it for us.
Yeah.
Many are asking, is he now the world's sort of leading cricketer, leading batsman at least, in the limited overs format of the game? How would you say?
In limited overs.
Yes. Limited overs for sure.
For sure.
For sure.
And Test cricket, his stats are very, very impressive already.
Right.
He's still got a long way to go, and it's going to be so exciting to watch his journey as he's already, I mean, to me, you can see him learning before your eyes about, and I think AB de Villiers on any given day can perform exceptional things in any format. And Steve Smith in Australia has been fantastic, very consistent in the last few years. Joe Root from England. So there's a really exciting batch of young cricketers around the world, young batsmen in particular. So I think there's very exciting times. Questions often asked, do India rely too much on Virat? I don't necessarily think so. I think it's hard for the other batsmen because he doesn't give them a chance to bat. He's so good, he just doesn't get out.
And that tends to happen, I imagine, in most teams where one person suddenly sort of discovers that form and really outshines the rest.
Well, and remember too, it's not that long ago that India had a core group of that top 5 or 6. Of, Tendulkar, Lakshman, Dravid, Sehwag, Ganguly. There was always such a strong unit. Now Virat is peeling off these exceptional performances. We've got to allow time still. It's not easy to replace those big names. And the other batsmen around Virat are still all chipping in when they can, but Virat's just such a standout. All the attention gets focused on him.
And the other big headline grabber, of course, like you mentioned, were the Calypso Kings, as they're now being called, the champions. They're everywhere. How do you see that? What's going on there? That's been some of the most remarkable cricket that we've seen in a long time, isn't it? The last over.
Yeah, T20 cricket lends itself to their culture, to the relaxed Caribbean way that you go about life. Laid back, chill out, everything's cool, have fun. But what they've shown too is when it gets to the serious moments, they can switch on. Huge amount of credit to Darren Sammy. I think it's quite. It'll be. I hope he gets recognised and the accolades he deserves for leading that team so well, because they are a merry band of brothers who. There's a couple of egos there and a couple of profiles that like the limelight, and he's got to mesh all that together, and he does that very, very well.
Now, you're one of the handful of captains who won an IPL title. How do you think that the tournament really compares to others globally? The Big Bash.
Look, I know that the T20 formats really began in England. Australia were very slow on the uptake, very cautious, I'd say, on the uptake. India just jumped in back in 2008. And it's been a global leader. It's been the tournament that everyone's wanted to be a part of. I know from personal experience as a player.